Hey everybody, welcome back to My Mayhem. I'm Rosie and today I'm here with a chit chat get ready with me. I'm going to be discussing my labor and delivery story while beating this face. My daughter was a week behind her due date, so I had to serve her an eviction notice. Induction was in order. Now, at first, I did not plan on being induced. I did not plan on having any type of numbing medication. I wanted to feel all the pain, be in tune with my delivery, and do everything naturally until I was still completely closed the week my baby was due. That changed it all. So, I was at my appointment and I was discussing with my doctor that I really wasn't interested in pushing out a baby that was over 8 pounds. I've had my own reservations. I have my own fears associated with it, and it's not what I wanted. So I asked him more about induction and if that was an option at this point, since I had been diligent with walking, exercising, making sure I was doing everything to trigger my body to know that we were getting ready to deliver a baby. He said that it was an option and definitely a possibility, and the first step would be to give me an oral medication that would get the ball rolling. It would act as a jump start to the process. And if I was not responding to the medication in a timely fashion, that I would be able to go home and wait it out a few more days. That sounded good to me. It sounded like a plan. And so we went for it. My daughter was due August 10th, 2018. And I went to the hospital the 13th. No, I believe it was the 15th. It was a Wednesday. And so I went to the hospital, was admitted, and received the oral medication. Now, with induction, there are many steps, and the whole process can take anywhere from 3 to 5 days. I was unaware of that because my intention was to get the oral medication. If the ball rolled, we rolled. If it didn't, I would be going home. So I wasn't aware that there were many methods to get you there and that it could take up to 5 days. What ended up happening is I took the medication, and for a very long time, there was no response. Now, my nurse informed me that I wouldn't be able to go home either because the fluid around the baby was decreasing, which is normal when you go past your due date. And so I was stuck in the hospital, ready to meet this child of mine and move forward with life. I'm in the hospital, 2 centimeters dilated after so many hours of the oral medication. They proceeded further with the next method, which is called a balloon. The balloon opened me up to 4 centimeters. After that, we moved on to Pitocin. Pitocin started kicking my butt, and I was not able to move forward without an epidural. I received my epidural, and fortunately, the Pitocin took me to 8 centimeters. Now, mind you, this is on Saturday. Remember, I went in on Wednesday. So on Saturday, I got to 8 centimeters and was stuck for 9 hours. At this point, my doctor informed me that I could opt for a C-section because the delay in the time that everything was happening wasn't happening in a fashion where we should continue going with Pitocin. I was thrilled. Days prior to this happening, I had requested a C-section just because I was overwhelmed and wanted to meet my baby. They discouraged me, and I continued going with the methods of induction. And then we got to this point. Some of the reasons why I was so anxious and very excited is my husband and I chose not to know what we were having the entire pregnancy. And so I wanted to see who was this that was kicking their little foot out and nudging and etc. I wanted to meet this baby. So I wrapped my brain around C-section. Me and my husband said a prayer and we moved forward. The C-section was very, it was an experience. I will say that. It was definitely an experience. I was so cold. I did shake. I know I had watched some videos prior to giving birth, and women would talk about shaking during the C-section, and I had no idea what they were talking about or what they were referring to. It has something to do with the medication they give and the temperature of that room. It is cold in that room. And of course, for good reason, they're operating and doing a whole surgery. So I was cold and shaking and just ready to meet my baby. More excited than nervous. At this point, I wasn't concerned with the surgery and its side effects or anything. I trusted my doctors. I had a great staff of nurses that were assisting the entire time. And I was confident that the surgery would go well and I would meet my bundle of joy very, very soon. Well, on August 18th, 6:07 p.m., my daughter was born, Rayleigh Smith, and we were overwhelmed. The funny thing is, my husband wanted a boy the entire pregnancy. I wanted a girl. So it was very funny to see what exactly we were having because we would go back and forth the entire pregnancy. He would always refer to the baby as a boy, and it turned out to be my beautiful baby girl. Well, after the surgery, I had to wait in a certain area before I could return to my room and our family could meet the baby and we could enjoy the rest of the time we would be there. Now, in this room, they were doing various tests, and the main thing they told me is that I would have to move both of my legs before being sent back to my room. Well, I thank God that it took about 2 hours, which is normal, for the medicine to wear off. And I was able to go back to my room. Now, the only downside of a C-section is you're completely out of it. Like, you're so drugged up. I remember returning back to the room and I was so itchy, very itchy. They had to give me a Benadryl, which knocked me right out. I don't remember anything after that Benadryl. So that's the only sucky part. It's like, you know, with the vaginal birth, I had heard you go right back to normal and your body is this, your body is that. And that just, you know, wasn't the case for me. I was tired, exhausted, and I had to rest. So I did. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. Yes. So I was there Sunday. I left Monday. And I was there and ready to leave. I was so tired of being in the hospital. And I wanted to get in the shower. I wanted to sleep in my own bed. and I wanted to bring my baby home. So I was talking to the doctor, and she was very hesitant at first. She was telling me it's my first child, and she wanted me to stay an additional day. But if she granted me to go home, it wouldn't be until the evening of that Monday. So that was fine with me. I went with it, and we stayed, and we left at 6 p.m. The process of bringing the baby home was smooth. My husband returned to work, actually, the day after we got home from the hospital. And that morning, let me tell you, I was very overwhelmed, and I had wished that I stayed in the hospital. I was so tired, and I was like, I don't understand how I was getting so much rest in the hospital, and yet at home, I'm not getting any rest. I was so tired, extremely tired. I felt overwhelmed. I felt unequipped. I felt unable to be the mother that I knew I could be. And thankfully, my mother and my aunt came over, took over, and I was able to get some rest and re-energize myself for my beautiful daughter. So the process for me wasn't negative. The healing process, all of those different aspects of the surgery, it was all positive. I didn't have any issues with my incision. I didn't have any issues with, extreme pain or anything like that. It was really easy for me. And it was easy to the point where I had considered having all my children via C-section. So we'll see what happens with the next child. But it was very nice. It was a good experience. I would say to any expecting mother, you can plan your birth. You can create your birth plan, but do not be discouraged if your plan does not go how you wanted it to go. At the end of the day, you want to be healthy, and you want your child to be healthy. And that's all that matters, essentially. Anything else is just you setting goals and desires. But if anything changes, don't be disappointed. I also wanted to share that as far as my incision was concerned, for maybe about the first 3 months after the surgery and after giving birth, I didn't want to look at my incision. I didn't want to touch it. I kind of wanted to ignore it. I felt like it was a reminder that I wasn't able to do what I planned to do, which was to give birth vaginally and naturally. And I was feeling like, what's the best way to put it? I didn't understand why my body didn't do what it was supposed to do. And with that, I was very disappointed with the fact that I had a scar and etc. But of course, it's a common procedure. Again, many women do it. And although it wasn't what I wanted or planned, at the end of the day, I was healthy and so was my baby. And we're both here today. You know what I mean? There were no casualties, no loss. So I would just encourage you. I don't care how your baby gets here. As long as they are here, you are blessed. You are blessed, and it's a blessing. So those are the main points that I wanted to make in regards to the C-section, my experience. I definitely know that it's not common for many women to have the same experience that I had. Many of the nurses were amazed at how quickly I was moving around, and I don't know if it was just the motivation to go home or what, but I really wasn't in drastic pain and needed to stay there. I was really okay. And so, some tips. If you do have a C-section, make sure you call on assistance. Have some family come over, cook for you. It is recommended that you don't do too much while you are recovering from the surgery. So make sure that you call on some people, those people who said they would be coming over. Let them come, let them clean, let them cook for you. Let them take the baby and do a couple of feedings so that you can get some rest and get enough energy to move forward with all the things that are required of you as a mommy when those individuals are not available to help. Follow the doctor's instructions. Don't be lifting items that are too heavy for you. Don't be consumed with having to complete housework. Rest. Get your rest. And that was one of the things I struggle with, is I felt like when the baby was asleep, I could go and wash dishes or go and do this. And it was like, no, you need to go to sleep. Or if not sleep, just rest. Like relax, rest, chill out. So get some rest, call on some help, and just take it day by day. Your incision, your scar is nothing to be ashamed of. It doesn't make you any less of a mother. It doesn't mean you're broken or anything is wrong with you. It means that you had a beautiful baby. Period. Okay? So that was my experience. That is my story. I'm all healed up. My daughter is almost 6 months. She'll be 6 months next week. I'm so excited. And we have just been truly blessed. So I'm going to finish up this makeup look. I've only gotten to the eyes. Once I finish, I'll come back and close this video out. And, of course, show you the final look. Dre Fresh Killer Beat. Thank you for getting ready with me. Make sure you tune in weekly for new videos. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below. Was your labor and delivery so extreme? Was it easy? Did it take 5 days? Let us know. I want to hear from you. Again, this is Rosie, and I'll see you next week.